Oh,
Hey everybody, welcome. It's Monday, Always Bookin Comedy. We're here with Alyx Libby from Atlanta, Georgia. Is that correct? Atlanta?
I live in Atlanta. I'm from Florida, so I claim both.
Okay. All right. What part of Florida?
Near Daytona Beach, and then I technically did my first open mic in Orlando. So that's where I started.
Wow. They have a great comedy scene, I've heard. And scene.
Yeah, it's always changing, but it's good. A lot of their folks just moved to Austin.
It's one of those scenes. Okay.
Yeah, they used
Okay.
to come up to Atlanta, like from Orlando. That was the next stop, but now they just
hmm
either go straight to New York or LA or
Going to the
Austin.
Golden Land
Yeah.
now. The Golden Land of anti-woke. Well, that's awesome. Alex, great to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Good to
When
see
was
you.
that first open mic? How long ago was that?
Oh gosh, I was still like I wasn't still in college. It was over 10 years ago because then I moved to Atlanta for acting. I'd only done a few open mics here and there. So I just focused on acting. And then, so it was before 2014. And then in 2018 is when I made it my resolution to start doing comedy because I got fired from a bartending job. So I was like, let me get an office job so I can do comedy at night. And I started in 2018 and haven't stopped. So I've been really doing it like 7 years.
That's awesome. Oh, what did that look like during the pandemic for you? What
Well,
was
I'm in the
Atlanta like?
South, so we took a good 2 weeks off. And then it was hit or miss. Like we would, like a venue would shut down and then try social distancing. That's why I actually started running a lot of shows because it was one of the only theaters open. We had an outdoor space, and we had an indoor and outdoor. So there were a couple of years where I was running like shows every week and a weekly mic. It was a lot.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's a
it was like
lot.
half and half. Half the scene was really mad at people for doing comedy, and then half the scene was like, well, we're gonna do comedy. So
Yeah, there's a big turnover, it seemed like.
yeah.
Big change. Tell us about the first show you ever ran. What motivated you to run it?
Oh, so I've been gifted some shows. I usually have imposter syndrome, so I don't go after things. I want to wait. So the
Okay.
first show that I ever ran, my friend who I'd worked with, he's a great comedy producer and headlining comic. I just worked with him actually this weekend. But Joe Pettis, he had a bunch of shows. He still does, but he handed off Underwear Comedy Party to me since that was one of the first shows I did. And so I hosted it and then eventually just took over as producing it. It was a monthly show until COVID actually, just with the venue. But there's and then the shows that I used to run at Roll Call Theater, I also was just doing so many shows there and they're like, we like your energy. Do you want to host our shows? And then okay, we're gonna bring you in as the in-house stand-up producer. So
Was
now I
and
what?
what did you enjoy about running shows
Oh my goodness.
back then?
Well, I tell you what I don't enjoy is the marketing
Okay, I was going to
aspect.
get to that eventually, but
Yeah, trying to get people in is hard, but I'm pretty organized. That's my day job. I'm an executive assistant. So as far as, booking, hopefully spelling people's name right in the flyer, whether it's me doing that or the venue, but just making sure the ticket link is right. Just getting it all together is fun. And then it's exciting when it's a real show and people come and comics get stage time and other comics want a bucket spot. Big fan of the bucket spots here in the Southeast.
nice. Awesome.
Mhm.
Do you have good luck in the buckets usually
It's
when
gotten
you're
better as I've gotten better. Coincidence?
Oh, okay. Okay. Any secrets to spill about bucket spots?
So I actually never rigged the bucket in my shows just because that's what I was advertising. I didn't want to waste people's time,
Yeah.
especially for comedy competitions. Like it's fun. Like you'll win if you're good, and if not, you can have 5 minutes. It's fine.
Right.
And I also did a all bucket open mic, so you kind of go,
I'm
but you
always
want to win.
curious about those.
Yeah.
How did you run it where the person hears their name and they have to run on stage?
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, those
Yeah.
drive me crazy.
Try to
It's
keep them in
like,
the room.
what's that?
Try to keep them in the room.
Yes, I guess so. I guess so. Sometimes they're run a little, you could say friendlier, but I'm not saying that it's not friendly. But they'll announce like three names at once.
Yeah,
Um,
we tried that too, but I just mostly
yeah.
like the
Yeah,
surprise
keep
element.
that is smart to keep them in the room. That is
Yeah.
true.
But we would
Especially
only
when you're
take
getting
this.
started,
Mhm.
like, man, is that terrifying. Like you're already terrified. Like you have this dual thought, like, I hope my name isn't called, and God, I hope my name is called. I don't want to stay here till 2 in the morning.
Yeah, at least we were friendly in that respect where we would only take as many names in the bucket as there were spots. We wouldn't make people wait for nothing.
So
Yeah.
everybody would get pulled eventually.
Yeah, we'd be like, "Oh, sorry, it's capped." Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Anything crazy happen when you were running
Not
shows
not
at
not at
night?
any of my shows. I was recently on a show where someone got a drink thrown at them on stage. I'd never seen that in person.
Whoa.
That
Did
was
they
back in
report
Orlando,
it? Because that made
actually.
one comic pretty famous. She even got a spot on Kimmel over it.
It no, actually, it wasn't being recorded. Maybe on their iPhone, but
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if
Wait,
I
did they
would've wanted
deserve
to
it, do
be.
you think? Were
I
you
mean, they were doing crowd work that I couldn't have I wouldn't have, but I also couldn't have done that crowd work because that's not my thing, so I'm not
okay.
sure,
Okay.
but it
Okay.
was it
What
was
kind of drink?
entertaining. Um, I don't know, but it was in a cup and they, like, threw it, had great aim, so all, like, the drink splashed on them, but they didn't actually get hit with a cup or anything.
Wow. Okay.
They were just,
Okay.
tried to recover, and he
Yeah.
told me after, he's like, "I tried to recover so it wasn't so bad for you on stage." So he just did, like, 1 more minute, but he was also, like, really upset. So it was crazy.
That's a bummer. That's kind
Yeah.
of a bummer. Did the thrower get kicked out?
No, but again, it was Florida, so are there
Yeah.
rules? I was at a show in Florida last weekend, actually in the Panhandle. They're like the showrunner or the manager of the club was like, sorry I didn't catch your set, and sorry, I'll be right back to write your check, but, there's a guy with a gun we gotta go deal with."
That
I
that
guess I'm
happened.
just
I was in Arizona just recently, and when I got off stage, they were like, there was a shooting outside. So you're gonna
Oh,
see a lot of police if you go out. And I was like, well, I'm just staying here till the late show. So I
I'll
left
just
like 3
yeah.
hours later and it was fine.
Oh, good. Yeah, just stay inside, I guess, when in doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. Um,
What else you got?
how about are you part of some festival maybe?
I
Might
ran a
okay.
festival for 2 years at the venue I was working with, and then I was going to delay and do the 3rd year, but a lot of the other Atlanta festivals also pushed to spring. I don't wanna
Okay.
compete, so I'm doing a gap year, and I'm not sure, but I'm gonna rebrand if I bring
Okay.
it back.
Let's
It's
let's
a
talk about that first year.
yeah.
What got you into it? What was a surprise? What was good? What was bad? Give us the skinny. What was it called? Let's start with that.
Um, A-list ultimate comedy competition because I was running shows called A-list comedy, and we had a few weekly and monthly shows, and one of them was a comedy competition. So we would take the winner of that and feed into the annual one and then take submissions. But I got into that because the venue wanted a festival. And I was like, there's already so many great festivals in Atlanta. So when they asked again the next year, the year I started, I said yes, but let me do it a way no one else is doing it. And Laughing Skull didn't do a competition anymore. So I was like, let's do a
Hmm.
competition. Let's ask all the Atlanta producers if they want to contribute prizes. And they did, like 99% of them did. So I'm like, we'll make it worth it for comics. We'll do cash prize, $1,000. Just, I was like, I had done enough festivals. So I'm like, what would I want in a festival? I don't want just one spot if I travel. I want a t-shirt and a badge, like just the minimum to make it like legit. So I
Yeah.
was yeah, I
How'd the
was proud of
t-shirts go? Did
how
you
it went.
design them?
We designed it with the logo that we were already using for the shows, and then we have a great, comic turned I don't know if he still has comedy, but he does great T-shirts for a lot of comics, in a free T-shirt, you want it to be comfy. So I was
Yeah.
T-shirts
Yeah,
came out
yeah, I'm
great.
a big fan of nice t-shirts.
I had an idea of for my merch, I get so many free shirts or, like, comic shirts, I should just sell other people's shirts. I was like, I just always travel with a garage sale.
That's
Because I
funny.
acquired 2 more
What
last week, but I don't sell my
what
own.
what's your favorite comedy t-shirt?
I That's so hard because there's so many funny ones, but I think just probably, like, Mark Norman's comedy is, like, just
Okay.
right to the point.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Mhm.
So any competitions usually have some drama? Any drama that first year? Who
No,
was judging? How did you do that?
well, I had it be a mix of audience vote and, the judges were also local industry that were giving prizes. So, like, the booker of Laughing Skull was there, the bookers of Hissy Fit Comedy, who later started running the West End Comedy Festival. So a lot of local comics. I even had some, what was it? Some agents, local agents. I wanted, acting opportunities because I do both. So made it a mixture. Like, oh, like if you bring people, that's great, but it's not necessarily going to mean that you win. So the finals was packed. Someone great won. He's been on America's Got Talent since. And then last year we had another great comic won, and I was like, oh, this is an Atlanta comedy competition, and other people are winning from all over. So I'm glad.
Oh, what, they weren't locals?
No, actually, I think both years an Atlanta comic got like either second or third place. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And where were the other ones from? They flew in from like LA or
One was, I think, in New York at the time, and I can't remember where the other one was.
did you take submissions or
Mhm.
did you take
We
everybody? How did that work?
I also, again, wanted impartial judges, so I had, like, unnamed, comics, um, view the tapes and rate them and report back, and then we also, like I said, you could enter the monthly comedy competition locally to automatically get a spot into the competition. So it was a mixture of submissions and locals.
Nice. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it was a lot. I just was like, "Let's try this. Let's throw this in here," and it was fun
Yeah.
though. I had to just so like a page of like rules and explanations of how it would work. Like even during the festival weekend, be like, okay, here's a wild card round if you don't automatically advance, so you get your second chance, stuff like that.
Nice.
Mhm.
What was like your number one takeaway that you brought to the second year? Something to change?
Um,
Or did you run
that's a
it the same way the second year?
that's a good question. We ran it pretty similarly. I think I gave myself more time to get submissions in because I was like, oh, we'll just be doing copying and pasting a lot of what we did the previous year, but it was still a lot of work, and I was like, oh no. Oh no. Yeah, there's a lot more work to be had, and then you have to send out the emails, and the ticket links are different, but the main takeaway is of just in general of doing it was like, oh, yeah, you can do anything that you set your mind to. I just had to want to and then have the right opportunity.
That's such a great attitude. I love it.
Thanks. We actually
Um,
didn't lose money. It wasn't like a huge profit or anything. It was
mhm.
myself and the venue were the co-producers, but just to like not make it a loss on your first year is a win
It's a
in
huge
itself.
accomplishment. That's
Yeah, and
terrific.
everyone
I mean,
seemed
any
pretty
show
happy with it.
that can
Yeah.
run at a profit is a big accomplishment. What do you think some of the tricks are to being financially solvent? You seem like, as an executive assistant and somebody with their, I've hung out with you. You seem like you have your head on pretty. You're pretty wise beyond your years. Let's
Oh,
say,
thanks.
yeah.
Well, I would say like you want to dream big but start slow, which is what we did the first year. Like, well, we don't want to have more shows than we'll have audience members for. And having money is great. So I would say like if you can get sponsors, that type of thing, that would definitely help. And because we also wanted to keep the submission fees low for comics.
What, do you remember how much they were? They like
I think we did like
25.
$15 the first year and then 20 the second year.
Wow, that is low. That's
Like,
great.
yeah, thanks.
Yeah, good job. Good job.
Thanks.
How did you spread the word about it?
We use social media, paid ads. The venue had an email list, and then on Facebook the comedy festivals and competitions. I love that group.
Nice.
Mhm.
Awesome.
And people.
So we met at a comedy festival. Let's talk about other comedy festivals. What
Okay.
other what have been some great comedy festivals you've been to? Or maybe just great aspects of other comedy festivals.
Well, my first two big ones, and they were also just really good, were 10,000 Laughs and then the next year Limestone. So those were just great shows, great hang. Like,
Those are the first two festivals you did?
mhm.
Holy cow, that's wild.
I told you I like to wait and make sure I'm good enough.
There you go.
Or I just got rejected a lot of other years before. But, um, I travel with Holly in Atlanta. She's another like, we do end up doing a lot of the same festivals together. We're doing Fountain City this year, which we've never done, and, like, I think she did Limestone the year after, and then, like, "Oh, I did this festival this year, you did this festival, like, how were they? Like, should we submit?" So, like, just word of mouth of other comics is a good way to know about festivals. I think ones that have, like, industry panels or can either help put you up or at least,
Do you remember anything specific you learned at an industry panel at a festival that has been actionable for you?
yeah, it's a good when there's bookers there, like, everyone has their own process, so it's just good to hear, like, "Oh, they want me to follow up every 6 months or every 1 month." Just like in acting with casting directors, everyone has their method.
Mhm.
So even if it's just like basics, like it's good to have a refresher. So
Nice.
like even if it's just reminding you like, oh yeah, I do need to update my link on YouTube or whatever.
Yeah. I have this EPK, and it's like a nightmare to edit. It's like this very complicated PDF process, and
Mhm.
so I never update the tape, which is really the only thing that I need to update in it. Like, it's pretty full. Like, I could like, if I got into a more prestigious club, I could, like, take out a graphic for one club and put in a more prestigious one, I guess, but really it's the tape. Like, every month it feels like I have better tape than I've ever
Yeah.
had before. But
Good problem to have.
it takes hours to update it. I don't know why I'm so dumb
Oh,
at it. And I was just thinking about it today. I was sending somebody the EPK, and I have like this old tape that doesn't look very good. I know better. I know to have better tape, because that's probably the one thing people are going to right away. They don't really care about the EPK other than the
well,
tape.
it's nice for it to look nice. I actually need one. Like I have a website, but I clickable EPK is better. My friend just sent it to me because we were sending off something for co-headlining, and it's just one of those things like on the back burner. Like I don't even have one, and you're like, I need to update mine. But it's just those like admin things that like fall behind. But I'm just like, those are the things that we can control. So
Right. Well,
yeah,
it's annoying because you kind of need expensive software. At least I haven't found a free way to make a reliably clickable PDF. Just making a PDF you can do pretty easily, like in a Google Doc or whatever, and you export as PDF. But then actually, I'm not sure I ever tried that. That would maybe solve my problem.
that might be easier. I'm not sure because like I have Adobe or Canva, but my friend Lysandra, another great comic, she does EPKs, I think, for money, or I don't know if she does them for everyone, but she does all these different like social media, that type of thing.
Hmm.
But I'm gonna use her when I get around to it.
That's a good idea. Just to have
Mhm.
somebody else do it. But then when
Yeah,
you want to update it, it's like, oh man.
yeah, it has to be user friendly or be like, "Can you show me how to do this?" or "Can you make it
Yeah.
easy
I mean,
to
if you have Adobe, that
cross-pollinate?"
helps a lot. I think if you have, whatever their PDF
So,
application.
one trick that somebody told me, you can make the EPK where it's really just another tab on your website.
Oh,
So
yes, I've
that's
seen that
yeah.
before. Because
Mhm,
I get I book a lot of shows, and I get stuff from people.
mhm.
Um, yeah, that's a good idea. I think there are some bookers that want a PDF for whatever reason. It's like sadomasochistic. They just, like,
Yeah,
want it to be difficult. Like, we want this thing. I mean, ostensibly so they can, like, forward it to somebody.
right, or just save it and
Yeah.
have yeah, yeah. See,
I
everyone
don't
has
know.
a different
It's
process.
annoying. EPK is annoying.
So
And
what's
and
your favorite
honestly, like,
way?
when people send me an EPK, I don't really care. I really just want your tape and
Oh, then
maybe
you can
like a
just put that right in the
2 sentence
email.
bio
I know I
style.
updated, like, my digital, what's it called? Business card, but it's
Okay.
also you can make it your I can't think of words because it's late at night and I haven't had coffee, but, I made it my email signature, so it has, like, a few
Ah,
links right there,
nice.
and it looks professional because I had a comedy consult with someone, and that was one of their tips, like, "You need to
That's
put in
great. And
you
and
you
so
have
many
your
people
headshot in your signature."
nice. And so many people see that. You send
Right.
emails all the time,
I
so
do.
that's a really good idea, which reminds me, I can't believe I almost forgot this, but weren't you the person that I was,
Yeah.
like, effusive in praise about an email once?
Yes. I
That's
kept
so
that
funny.
compliment.
I was just complaining about people sending bad emails, and, yeah, this is a kind of a funny story. Basically, Alex sent me an email once, with, like, she was trying to tour with another, correct me, my memory might
Yeah.
be
I
foggy, but
was
basically she
trying to
was,
book myself another comic, yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and, and I sent, like, an email that I think I said, like, "Oh, we don't have anything right now, but by the way, this is, like, the best email I've ever received." And I didn't have to say that. I was
I
just like,
I
but it was
appreciate
true. I was, like, truly astounded by how professional the email was. And then we ended up doing a comedy festival later, and I don't know how we figured out that you were the person who sent
that.
the email, or I was the person that sent that praise, but it was a
Yeah,
funny small world
yeah,
situation. So
'cause
what is the secret to a great email? I can't even remember.
well, I was gonna say okay, well, I have 2 things, that and then one other tip that I thought of just for comics or newer in comedy, like, just to keep it simple. Like,
Mhm.
if you're gonna do your Instagram, have it be the same as your email. Like, mine's like my email is my full name, like, luckily, it's unique enough, but
Yeah.
just so you don't have, like, numbers in there or if you're, like, going to be like comedian stage name, and then you want to take your stage name out later. So just try to keep it all as close to the same as you can.
Yeah,
Like
let me throw out
Venmo.
something related to that,
Mhm.
which I do not do. My email does not start with the first letter of my name, which is not great because
So
people
it doesn't
type in their email
auto-populate.
problem. They're like, "Oh, I need to email Alex. A-L, is it E or Y? I can't." And then it like auto completes. Okay,
Yeah.
it's Alyx Libby, whatever.
Mhm.
But mine is a bad example of that. But that's a good thing that I learned after I got into comedy that you should do
Yeah, I
is
learned
make
that after
sure
I
your
got
name is the start of the email.
yeah, I got Google late, so I was
Yeah.
holding on to my AOL account for a while, actually. But, that's embarrassing. So your question was about a good email.
Yeah.
First of all, again, to have a tape clickable right in the email is helpful, and then, your bio just so that, you don't have to go, "Oh, do you have a tape?" Or, "Oh, what are your dates?" So just
Right.
send
Yeah.
all
You
the
don't want the booker to
information
have to
right at
really
once.
follow up about anything.
And then I would say my favorite tip is just, like, research, like, you can look on, like, the club website and see what dates they have or don't have shows. If they don't have shows, why would you send them those avails? And then also another booker told me, like, don't be too available. Like if you say all month, it's like, well, why do I want to be the only one to book you?
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just little things.
Those
Yeah,
are
and the
good.
email's
Those
kind
are
of
good
tricky.
tips. I'm also curious. Can you talk a little bit about being an actor and doing comedy? Because I don't know anything about that, and I know Atlanta is kind of like a second Hollywood or something. So
Mhm.
just tell me anything about that.
Okay. So yeah, the nicknames are Yollywood or Hollywood of the South, but no one ever says that except like when they first move here.
Okay.
But yeah, there is a lot of both. Some people do both well. It's hard. There's not a lot of crossover. And then there's some people that just like dabble in one. There's a higher startup cost in acting, but I had started acting first, so I already had like I got in when it was way easier to get an agent. Now you almost always need a referral and like a crazy demo reel and credits already, but basically I just had to like be in acting classes and get headshots and just start being in the community and networking and all that. But I kept like I've auditioned for a couple stand-up shows through my acting agent. Like Rory Scovel had one season of something and then, the Miss Pat show. So when I get those, because there's not a lot of like sitcoms or comedy that films in Atlanta. So there's really not a lot of crossover. And at this level, there's not comedy managers in Atlanta. They wait till you get something big and then they're like, "Oh, you're ready." So there's no like developmental managers, but I'm trying to fix that actually. However, um, I had I had the first time where they really connected recently. I haven't even done the show yet, but I booked it. There's a casting director who was booking, I think it was through like Carolina Film Society or something in North Carolina, and they needed comics. So I think I actually self-submitted on Actors Access, which is one of the main websites that legit like agents and casting director use, and you can submit yourself to projects. So you can do non-union on there. And my agent contacted me and they're like, "Hey, can you send over more materials? The casting director is interested in you." Because I also, another one of my tips, I put a personal note in there. I was like, "I hope you remember me. I took one of your classes, like took your workshop, like to the casting director like years ago, or oh, I met you, or thank you, like whatever. Just I remember this project." Anyway, so he was like, he also wanted to know how he should remember you. And anyways, so I was like, "Oh, I piqued his interest." Anyway, I ended up booking it, and then I just got the flyer today, and like I offered to like bring a feature, but they booked a host and feature, and I was just like, "Oh, yay! My agent booked me something in comedy," and of course, he's not going to get as big of a payout as if it was something on TV, probably, but
Right. What's your like? Do you have like a
it
claim to
was just
fame in acting? What's been your best? I don't know.
no,
No. Okay.
I've done like well, I mean, I have random credits. I've been on different networks, but they're really like small parts.
That's okay.
No
What's the biggest show that you had a small part on?
very small
Something.
part in billions. Like, it was a
Oh,
principal
really?
role.
That's cool.
It was a credit I've on there.
Was
However, I
it
didn't have
filmed in
a
Atlanta?
line. No, I flipped to New York.
Okay. Huh.
Mm. And then being Mary Jane when, Gabrielle Union had that TV show, I had, like, one
Okay.
line on there.
Nice.
And
Speaking
yeah, just
role.
yeah, and then, some indie films where I've been the lead of or done those, like, Oxygen shows, like Snapped. Like, I have a fun one on there. But just random
Do you ever
some
produce your own
commercials.
content?
So my fiancé, you met him, he was just my
Yeah.
boyfriend at the time. Fiancé,
Congratulations. That's
thank you.
exciting.
Thanks. Yeah, he books more commercials than I do. He just books a lot. He was actually in Will Trent a couple episodes, which is another show that shoots in Atlanta. But he produces his own short films and has like this great crew that he works with sometimes. So we're collaborating on a feature, but it'll be a while before that gets made.
Okay. Well,
Mhm.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
We got a question from the Carolinas that you were just speaking
Ooh.
about, from North Carolina. How far out should you be providing your availability? Uh,
So,
Go ahead.
well, you producers, so you can answer too. But I think it just depends. Like the bigger clubs will do like 3 to 6 months. Like well, at least for headliners, they're way booked out for headliners, but they'll wait till it gets closer to see if the headliner is bringing a feature. Like they'll maybe want to lock in their host, but they just usually book locals. So that's why like the further advance notice is better. But I've gotten some like last minute, like, hey, can you work this Wednesday? And that was actually in North Carolina through like a club that has a few different, like it's a chain club basically.
Nice. Can you name the club?
Oh, the Comedy Zone.
Okay, because the person who just asked that question lives in
Oh,
North Carolina, so they
oh,
might know
great.
that.
But
Uh,
if it's someone I know, I mean, just maybe like a couple months, I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna be here this date. Do you have anything?" Because you don't want it to
yeah,
be already
sure.
booked. What's
Yeah.
your answer to that?
I was 3 to 6 months is a really good answer. I mean, bookers they vary so wildly. Like some people are so disorganized. I definitely know a booker that you can't contact until the week of. Never booked. The headliner is booked,
Mhm.
but everything else is like last minute. And I know other people like the shows I run. I'm booking into 2025 now, and it's August, so that's like 6+ months out. I just booked something for October 2025. That's like a year and a half now. That's for me as a comic, like
Nice.
2 weekends of work. And that one is always booked out like a year to 2 years
Mhm.
in the future because basically, like, there's one of the showrooms won't let you back for a year and a half. So like it's like a year, it's going to be at least a year and a half from the last time you were there, and then there's calendar variants to when you're actually submitting your avails and they're looking for them. So some of them are super far out. Like I think cruise ships are similar. They're
Mhm.
booked, like people plan like a whole year in advance. But to your advice earlier, that you don't want to send this makes me nervous. Like something I really like that from comics that I've taken is when they send me like what looks like a spreadsheet and it's all their dates, and they're not just sending their avails, they're also showing you when and where they're booked. It's like feature at Comedy Zone on this Thursday and Friday, indie showcase or whatever, or commercial taping, acting gig, whatever. And so you can see, like, it's impressive if you don't know the person and they're like mostly booked, and then you find a date that works.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, I feel good, like I got a special value booking this comedian. If that Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Yeah, do they send that via email? Because like, you know how, like, I'll have, like, my monthly show flyer,
Yeah.
but, like, I
Okay.
don't some clubs don't like other clubs, so I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, I'm actually working here," and then they're like, "Oh, well, never mind."
So I that's funny. So you have to be kind of like you have to be thoughtful in that. Sometimes I edit it for specific people. Like
Mhm.
I'll remove things, or I'll just change it to, I'll just say comedy club in Denver, Colorado, or I'll say restaurant basement in Colorado Springs. That's something that I did recently.
Oh,
And so
nice.
like it doesn't really, it also helps like to the person reading it. They don't really know, is this a big restaurant? Is this a small restaurant? They don't know. So
Yeah.
let them fill in the gaps. Whereas if you tell them the specific place, they might be like, oh, I've eaten there. That place is terrible. you
Mhm.
know I bet the comedy show sucks. uh so uh yeah. All right, well, we got to wrap this up, unfortunately, but this was super fun.
Oh, this was
Any
my
other, like, you seem to have like a lot of good advice. I bet you'd make a great comedy mentor.
Thank you. One
Any
day when I have more credits, I'm just starting to get into headlining, but, I've worked with great people, which is nice,
Mhm.
and I like to travel. So, yeah, if anyone wants to I think there's a form you can email me on my website, or you can just message me on
What's the
Instagram,
website? Perfect.
alexlibby.com/comedy, but it's
Good job.
yeah,
Nice.
thank you.
It's a good one. Any last pearls of wisdom for people out there watching us in the
Um,
future?
I've heard this before, and it kinda sucks when you see people getting stuff, but you can never get anything too late, so don't
Got it.
worry.
So still
Yeah.
be happy. Don't worry when
Mhm.
other people get stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Alex, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for
Good
having
luck with
me.
all the acting and the comedy stuff, and
Thanks. I
hope to
gotta go
see
to
you
Star Bar
back
right
out
now,
in.
actually.
What's that?
I have a show. I'm going to Star Bar. So
Oh, right on.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you again. We're gonna end this right now, and